Hey everyone, it's Simone Watson, and today I want to talk about how I pants a novel. Um, Really quick, I want to tell you that I have not been consistent with my YouTube videos for a very long time, and I know that me saying that I'm going to, you know, be more consistent about that only means so much until you actually see me put it into action. But just know that that is like a big goal for me during the rest of this year. And I think that I've gotten so out of practice that it's a little bit like, oh, at times it has been, a little bit daunting to turn on the camera. But this is something that I love to talk about. And I think that that's a part of it is like, if I choose a topic that I'm like, I could just talk about this all day, then hopefully that'll make it easier to kind of get back into the swing of things rather than if I was like, I have to talk about this thing that I don't, really feel comfortable, etc., etc., etc. So there will be a life update coming soon and probably a video of my goals for the rest of the year. But for now, I really want to talk about my pantsing process. I think that maybe there are some misconceptions about pantsing. Everyone's writing process is different just in general, but I think that sometimes the, you know, connotation that some people take from pantsing is like, oh, you just think of an idea and you just start writing. And I mean, I'm not saying no to that, but I don't know. I've just seen some. Well, I just want to dig into it a little bit more and say like here's what actually happens because if you're somebody that's like trying to figure out your process, it might help you to try some of the stuff that I do. I don't know. I'm not the expert, of course, but it's just like I don't know. It might work. Um or just, you might just be interested. So I'll just tell you. Okay. Um this is part of getting back into YouTube is I have to try to not be so perfectionistic and just like just like speak, you know what I mean, just speak and relax. Okay, so yeah, so basically I start with an idea. Recently I have been distilling, coming up with an idea to a process because I'm about to teach an OutSchool class on it, which is really exciting. So if you all would like to see a video about, coming up with an idea, I might have made one a long time ago, but I could make another one, and that would be cool. But just basically, I have these ideas that, may have come to me at some point and I just like keep them for later or, things like that. But if I don't know yet what to write about, like if I say I know a setting or a character, but I don't know what the central conflict is, then I have to kind of brainstorm to come up with a conflict that fits. Um, I have to have a central conflict for the story idea to really be like a story idea, for it really to be something that can go somewhere. Have to have a central conflict. And then step two would be that I get to know my characters. This is the other thing is that I am a pantser. I do think of myself as a pantser, but sometimes I plan. I think that a, let's say, more comprehensive term for what I am is something I got from Swoon Reads. There's like a Swoon Reads manual. And they say that some people are setting first writers, some people are plot first writers, and some people are character first writers. I am a character first writer. That means that in order to write, I have to have like enough of an understanding of my characters. And sometimes that, happens really fast. And I'm like, okay, I understand these characters. Now I can start writing. But sometimes I might be like, okay, I understand these characters. Because I understand these characters, I can sort of figure out the plot. Sort of. But it's just a matter of like, I don't need an outline to write. I need an understanding of my characters, and that can come in different forms. Sometimes, and these are the really nice times, I feel like I have a strong sense of who a character is before I start writing. But at the same time, I just said that and now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I just feel like I have enough of a sense to start writing. And then within those first few hours or something that I'm writing, I discover more about this character. But that's the thing. If I make an outline and I don't know who the character is, I've said this in my video about planfic, but I feel like I'm telling you a story about someone I don't know. So it's like, how am I gonna tell this person's story? Like the whole plot thing, it's like a disconnect. And it feels like it's in a place where I've never been. Which yes, sometimes I do write about places I've never been. But I'm just saying the inner world of the story is like, I feel like I have to like get into that world in order to know what's going to happen, in order to even know what questions to ask, sort of. But this can happen in different ways as far as the getting to know the characters process. Sometimes, yeah, it's like I just start writing a couple chapters and that's how I know who my characters are. Do I stop and brainstorm? Yes. I don't know why I formed that, why I said that like a question. I do stop and brainstorm however much is necessary. And by brainstorm, I mean get a new document and just type out whatever thoughts I have. Maybe they should do this. Maybe they should go to such and such. Something, something, something. So-and-so has a brother. The brother's name is such and such. You know, so-and-so. You know, all of those kinds of things, you know, are things that I stop and brainstorm, you know, and put in brainstorm documents along the way. But, you know, there's also, I made the video about planfic. There's also planfic, which is when I start writing something that is not necessarily going in the draft, but is just a way to get to know the characters. And that's really funny because with my project Ain't No Sunshine that I started, I guess I started it a year ago, which is surprising because I have worked on it on and off, but that one started off with a certain premise and then I did the planfic for it and it went in a completely different direction. And I was like, oh, okay, so now I know who this character is, but the like basic premise of the story has changed quite a bit. So that's something that I really love. I love, you know, like epiphanies. Like I love these moments of like, that's what should happen. Da, 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 you know, those kinds of really awesome moments. But, you know, I guess it is worth noting that it wouldn't really be true to say that I never outline ever in my life, ever. That's not really the case. I will say, with my first novel, Red Letter Law, I made a table of contents early on, and that was like my outline. But like I knew I was pantsing, but it was just like, oh, this table of contents will tell me like about which chapter is supposed to be what. And then after the midpoint, I have no idea what happens. So it's just like I kind of know the midpoint and then not really anything after that. But no, that was not an outline really. I don't think. But then every time I revise, I have to have a goal. So with the second novel I drafted, which was Tethered, it was sort of funny because I kind of wrote the whole story in one day, but it was 5,000 words. So then it was like, oh, I have to go back and like, you know, add some stuff so that that can like be a novel. It might have been less than 5,000. It was really short. So I was like, I have to add more stuff there. So, that, would you say that the kind of short version of it was an outline? I don't know. That's kind of a tough question. However, recently I went back and I rewrote Tethered. I did outline Tethered this time. And there are a couple things that kind of made that different. Number one, I already knew some of the really important characters in Tethered. I did add some characters, but I already knew some of the super important characters. So that was, again, it was like, now that I already know the characters, it makes it easier for me to figure out the plot. And two, I made up a game to help me outline because I did not want to outline. Especially I was previously going to work on a thriller, and I was like, I want to outline this thriller, but I don't want to outline. Like, I was like, I want to have an outline. Like, I think that having an outline is going to make a big difference when writing a thriller, but like, I don't really look forward to the process of outlining, so I turned it into a game, and the game was very helpful. So that was exciting. So yes, in a sense, I, you know, can outline sometimes, and in the future, I might outline. Depends on what depends on the situation. But I also do want to note that I do outline when I revise. So 17 Letters, which was the third novel that I drafted, I like when I went to revise 17 Letters, I probably need to make a video about my revision process, but basically I had, pantsing the draft really was like what made me know the characters inside and out. And I was like, okay, let me decide, like, what do I want this revision to, basically, what do I want it to look like? And so I ended up outlining it and re-outlining it and re-outlining it. And it was like very enthusiastic outlining with like colored pens and things like that. It was, it was kind of cool. I kind of liked outlining in that situation, even though I had to like change it around, but it was what helped me to see, like, okay, here's maybe what might not be working in the plot, or here's how I need to get it from point A to point B. So I think that outlining after you draft but before you revise, for some people, can actually be a really awesome process. Either you outline the thing you already wrote, which would be, I guess some people call it like a reverse outline or something like that, or what do they call it, a book map maybe, I'm not sure. So you could do that and then like look at, like, now you kind of have a bird's eye view of the plot, or you can just outline your next steps, because at that point, for me, it was easier to outline because it was like I already know so much about this, I already know so much about the world and the characters, that it's not, you know, it's not so much of a like, what the heck am I doing to outline? Does that make sense? Like, it was just helpful. And because I think of drafting as kind of an outward process. Like, there are so many possibilities. So I think of drafting as like, if I'm not sure whether to put something in the draft, I'll just say yes. Like, it's kind of like a yes, what was the movie, Yes Man or something like that? It was like, oh yes, I'll put that in the draft. I'll put that in the draft. So drafting is kind of more is better, like all of the possibilities thing. But when I revise, I'm going from this could be anything to like actually trying to make it look more of like a specific shape. So I think that is also why outlining helps me when I revise, because it's not so much let's look at all of the possibilities. It's let's take all of the possibilities and narrow them down closer to what I'm pretty sure I want the story to look like. So yeah, this was like a basic overview of how I pants stories, but I would love to know, what y'all think and know what your process looks like. Are you a pantser also, or kind of a plantser? Do you try different things based on how you're feeling or based on what each particular story needs? I don't know. I just want to know. If you want to know more about what planfic actually is, I will link my video about that in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, just any questions, let me know, because I don't know. I really enjoyed this, and I really like talking about my process. So it would be fun, and I probably will make a video about my revision process in more detail. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.